rank and rent in 2025. It's been something that I've not stopped doing. It's where I pick up a domain or find an expired domain or a drop domain, or I buy a domain and I basically build out a site. I rank the site, and then the idea is sell the leads. You rent the site, you use the site to help an SEO campaign. So rank and rent, kind of like having online real estate, online property, and you receive payment as long as it brings value, right? Now that online property can also be rented out for backlinks and a whole bunch of other advertisements if it gets traffic, AdSense, lots of stuff, affiliate. So there's a lot of benefits to owning your own properties. Now, I've got about 800 of those properties these days, and just pulled a report earlier on this morning. 97 leads have been sent to a boxing gym, and I know that from looking at their data and looking at their conversions, 1 in 3 will sign up roughly, and the average life value, look, I'm just going to make this figure up, but it's around the 2K, right? You can see a sense of value that my sites, there's 2 sites. The best thing about these sites is that they rank in a whole bunch of suburbs, and I look after a few boxing gyms. In the suburbs on one side of Melbourne, those leads are going to one client, and on the other side of Melbourne, those leads are going to the other client. Because these are my properties, I can funnel the leads to who I want. I can sell the site, I can flip the site, I can do lots of things. The flexibility is there. Rank and rent in 2025 still works. It works as good as you can rank a website and build a little micro brand. These are essentially lifeless sites in the sense that there's no real business behind them. It's a lead gen site. The purpose of it is to rank at the top in those suburbs, and those pages are branded as the clients that I send the leads to. So in other words, it might be like a generic domain, like let's hypothetically say Landscaper Brighton, or Landscaper Bondi, or Landscaper Sydney, right? And the actual website itself is branded as the potential client that will receive the lead. So it might have the logo of the landscaper in Sydney. Now in this case, where half the site is sending leads to one business with their branding, and then the other site is sending the leads to the other business with the other branding. And there's so much benefit to this. I personally use this to complement my current SEO campaigns to deliver additional value. This is not something I bill extra for. This is something that I just do, and it's something I continue to do. If I have a new client or have a few clients in, let's say, the tree removal space, it really makes sense for me to commit to this space myself, build my own domains, throw additional SEO juice at my clients. On my sites, I build like top 10 directory listicles where I will recommend my clients first and second. I will link to them. I will push the leads to them. There's so many benefits of having these niche sites. But the overall strategy is rank and rent. It's you have a digital space, it's getting real eyeballs. Now the complexities behind something like this is, have you ever managed one site? Have you ever managed 10? 800 is getting pretty interesting. And especially these days with all of the things changing, I think I'm sitting on about 20 or 30 sites in the trade space. That includes things like arborists, pest control, construction, about 50 sites in the accounting and finance, a whole bunch in the medical. Some of them are city sites, meaning it's just anything in Melbourne. Other sites, so in anything in Melbourne, it might be like talk about Melbourne weddings, Melbourne accounting. It's like a Melbourne blog or a Sydney blog, right? Then there are niche related domains where it's like arborist, right? One word, or tree removal. Now that might be a national site where I will focus on my clients in Sydney, arborist, tree removal, stump removal, Sydney, so geopages for Sydney. Then I might go deeper into geopages into the suburbs that I might have my clients in Sydney. Same with Melbourne. So one domain, so much you can do with it. But hey, it's a lot of work. You've got to have it designed, you've got to have it SEO'd, you've got to have it maintained, all the plugins updated. It's not cheap. Every couple of months we need to have fresh content created, content rewritten, content analysed, old content pruned, 301 redirected, based on its performance, authorship, who are the content writers, EAT, about us. So I've got obviously the priority campaigns, which are obviously the clients. And then I have my own domains, which I personally use a lot of the time actually for testing purposes as well, to test the waters. I want to see if Google's terms are actually what they are. They might say, do this, clap your hands and say your surname, and jump 5 times on the toilet. I'll go do that. And guess what? Google's nut. A lot of the time, Google mislead. They don't actually tell you things. So you got to test them, see what works. So the beauty of this is these are sites that are only a bonus. Now that obviously helps with the relationship with the client. It's just if there's additional leads that will come through, all of that is a bonus. None of that is expected. Every so often I'll have someone that will contact me offering me to buy the site. The sale of a site is something that some people specialize in, but you do the math. For example, a cosmetic clinic, one of the first niches that I jumped into many years ago was eyebrow tattoos. An eyebrow tattoo is like $800 or $900. If I'm delivering 10 leads a month, let's say one of them close, that's $800 of value. That doesn't sound like much, but these are just made up numbers, right? If your website is delivering 30 leads and it's a highly experienced salon, highly experienced technician, the conversion might be a bit higher. It might be 10 leads, 15 leads to convert. It's honestly actually not even my problem. As long as the lead is qualified, I definitely will do everything in my power to help the business owner convert the lead, and I'll do what I can with things like SMS leads, where the lead lands instantly, tell the client how important it is to jump on the lead straight away. Things like chatbots, just instant messaging options, booking platforms, checkouts, and the ability to actually purchase the thing then and there and commit to it. But yeah, rank and rent is actually part of a standard SEO campaign. So if I'm building a website for a physio, a lot of the time, because I've spent so much time doing analysis in the physio space, I'll go pick up my own domain. And so while I'm building out their site, while I'm ranking their site, starting to run some Google ads, I've got this website on the side that's just marinating. Eventually, there's some love that comes from it. Sometimes nothing happens to it if it's just one, but then if I build out 20 suburb plus accounting pages, a couple of years ago I built out a whole bunch of them. Now it's every year another one pops to page 1 of Google, and not just page 1, position 1 as well. Some of those suburb key terms don't get any traffic, or they get very little. You can look at it, be like, okay, SEMrush says there's no visitors seeing this website, which is interesting because the Google Search Console tells you otherwise. So SEMrush a lot of the time is actually makes mistakes. They don't have all the data, so does Ahrefs. They're just keyword estimation tools. At the end of the day, when the leads start flowing through on a key term that was meant to be zero traffic, no one cares about what SEMrush's traffic used to say. So these days, SEMrush's data and Ahrefs data is quite off because it doesn't now take into account all the searches that are coming from ChatGPT and AI overviews and stuff like that. Moral of the story, Rank and Rent 2025 definitely works. And it's actually a very sensible way for someone learning SEO to learn more, learn faster, learn without making permanent damage to a client's site. You can flap your wings and not stress that you're going to damage somebody's business. It's such a sensible way. If I was to restart again, this is exactly what I would do. I would look at keywords that are easy to rank for. Now, that's obviously common sense, so keep away from anything with big boy competitors. If you see mortgage broker Brighton or Chadstone's, you're not going to rank because in Brighton there's 20, 30 mortgage brokers with Google listings. but there might not be 20, 30 eyebrow tattoo salons. So you can niche down onto one key term and suburb, and don't stress if that search volume is like under, just build it, because when you build it, you will be like, you'll go down a journey of learning about so much. Setting up WordPress or whatever CMS you want to use, rain trackers, watching it, fixing bugs. Key is to get one website to a level and then move on to the next. That way you have a whole bunch of assets brewing. It's like you're planting seeds to a crop, and don't expect anything from it for, could be years. Hope that helps.